Então, eu sou a Josephine Bourgois, diretora executiva do Projeto Paradiso, uma iniciativa filantrópica de apoio aos talentos do audiovisual. E aqui eu já vejo muitos talentos, alguns conhecidos, outros menos, mas todos talentos. Obrigada pela presença de vocês, obrigada por estar aqui com a gente. Hoje a gente vai conversar com Guillaume Mainguet, que está aqui, direto de Nantes, né? Da Bretanha francesa, e para falar do ateliê Produire Sud. E a gente tem também a participação da Daniela Marinho e da Rafaela Camelo, que estiveram no Produire Sud em novembro com o projeto Sangue do Meu Sangue, e que eu vou poder dar um depoimento, então, em primeira mão, do que foi essa experiência. O call está aberto, então a ideia aqui é convidar os produtores que têm dúvidas sobre quem deve participar, como participar, por que participar, e tirar essas dúvidas. Então, o Guillaume vai falar um tempo, aí, uns 20 minutos, né, Guillaume? E depois a Rafaela e a Daniela vão contar um pouco da experiência deles, e depois vai ser aberto para perguntas de vocês que serão feitas por vocês mesmo, né? Liberando aí o microfone. Eu vou voltar a pedir para vocês, quem puder deixar a câmera aberta, porque é bem mais simpático nesses tempos de Zoom, a gente pelo menos tem uma ideia de quem está aí com a gente, é um pouquinho mais humano. O painel será em inglês, o Guillaume vai falar em inglês, então we'll switch to English, because Guillaume will be speaking in English. Questions can be asked in English or in Portuguese, and we'll translate them, no problem. And Rafaela e Daniela vão falar em português, a gente achou mais simpático. E o Guillaume super entende português, né, Guillaume? Então, we'll be going back and forth, switching from English to Portuguese. And without further ado, Guillaume, tell us everything about Produire Sud, how wonderful and great this workshop is. It's been going on for 20 years. I think it's one of the more long-lasting workshops probably in the world. It has had amazing ties with Brazilian cinematography from the beginning and throughout its history. So I think it's wonderful that you can tell us about that, and to you.
You put pressure on my shoulders, Josephine. Thanks very much. Now I have to to present the best of the workshop. Hello everyone. I'm very glad to be invited this morning Brazilian time to meet with all of you for this brief presentation of Produire Sud workshop that I'm running since 2010. I'm also very glad to make this presentation along with Daniela Marinho and Rafaela Camelo. Were like participants to Produire Sud in Nantes last year. So unfortunately we couldn't meet physically because it was all online that time. Hopefully we can change all of this very soon. So yes, I'm the executive director of Produire Sud workshop. Produire Sud is the industry program attached to the Festival des Trois Continents. It's a French film festival in Nantes, but quite well established film festival in France, Europe, and I would say in the world, regarding its very specific positioning towards its editorial line with those three festivals, targeting those three festivals, Latin America, Africa, and Asia. The festival been created in 1979 and Produire Sud in 2000. So about 20 years after the first creation, the idea of Produire Sud was to enhance some co-production between, at that time, European countries, and mostly France and the three continents, trying to set kind of common language between producers, so to be able to raise some funds to make visible and possible the production of new feature films and the talents all around, like directors and producers. So Produire Sud is commonly called like international workshop, training workshop around international co-production. So meaning what actually I've just mentioned, trying to give as much tools, information as possible around this international co-production world, so to facilitate the access to young producers and directors to this specific, very specific way of producing that make two or several countries in a position of working together. So I've prepared a kind of document just to help me trying to structure my presentation, and then I think Daniela and Rafaela, of course, will testimony about their participation from last year, and we can have a few questions after this presentation. We'll just like make sure everything is. Can you see this?
Yes, it's perfect.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, so, oh, sorry. It's not working. It will.
We tested it and it was working just fine, just as always.
Yeah, that's always the same thing, you know. That's that.
Wonderful. Yeah.
Yes. So the very first target, as I said, to Produire Sud is to help young producers and directors who have a fiction project in mind already on the paper, to find their way, their marks, their new contacts, and all the kind of elements that they will need to try to find the money and the people to collaborate with. So the idea is to what we call and we put in the core of Produire Sud conversations, trying to develop a co-production strategy. Here are the main goals, so we won't be surprised by this. The idea is to familiarize directors and producers with the international film industry. So now, of course, like 20 years after its creation, it can be a bit different because we know how much the globalization of everything helped a young generation of producers and directors to get to know with many different things around how to filmmaking, how to produce films. But it's not always and still the case for many of them, depending on where they're from, which country they're from. And especially with the 3 continents that we are trying to establish bridges with, it's not sometimes, depending on the countries, not that easy for young people to reach some international. And even though they got the information, how to do that and how to set and send the right documents to be able to participate in. Training directors and directors before confronting reality of markets. That's one of, the specificity of Produire Sud. It's a training program. So that term, that word is very important. Directors and producers are not in real conditions or professional conditions where they have to test themselves confronting a jury or anything. Here it's a very, I would say, kind and easy framework, so they can test and test again and make mistakes and everything. So because it's still a training, and within this training we'll see what the kind of contents we provide. But I mean, the most iconic training element that we can propose is the pitch itself, in right conditions, of course, but still in terms of training, meaning that they will have to improve themselves after the experience with Produire Sud, when they'll be in real position to defend their films in front of other professionals, sales agents, potential co-producers, or any other jury. And enhancing international co-productions, that's not the first of the first goals, but it can happen depending on which group of participants you have. And we said each year, it happens that sometimes some of them have the idea to collaborate together, which is always a good news for us. Why it doesn't work again? Mm-hmm. If I need to change each time, sorry. Maybe because of the full screen.
Yeah, you can maybe leave it on regular and then.
Sorry.
I think everybody understands.
Yes.
I think everybody has gone through one of these before.
Maybe so. Maybe
Yeah.
do you see the screen? So
yeah, you can do that. Yeah.
So yeah. So maybe what's important to describe besides the main thing that's obviously describe a workshop is what is very specific with Produire Sud. So first of all, we are selecting a very few film projects, so we can provide and make sure that each of the mentors, professional mentors, and myself can have, let's say, human connections, like we can get to know with each of the people and projects, so to be able to, after the workshop, to provide a good follow-up. So individual expertise is something that each of the team will get out of from Produire Sud on their projects, regarding the script for the director and regarding, let's say, for a general approach, the production strategy for the producer. There's no competition at all. Each of the 6 to 8 film projects selected are not compete with each other. They're all working together, trying to find some way to, as I said, collaborate, but not in a competitive way, which for me doesn't really make sense to award any projects in development that has not really like find its final form or format. So there's no competition. I said like facilitating meetings between participants. The subtext of selecting a team is to offer the possibility a director and a producer to communicate to each other. It seems very obvious to say it, but it's not actually. Even a director and a producer working in the same country, same town, sometime, they don't spend much time together. Here, we offer director-producer to spend 1 full week working together, talking fully about their projects, and so to trying to deal the list of details regarding the producer, the production approach of the film, or the core of the narrative, which also is a way for each of them to get to know to one another responsibilities, duties, and position towards the project, which is of course very important. it goes without to say that, without saying that some of the team, after all these talks and explanations and confrontations, sometimes can come up to split sometimes, or in the contrary to a big wedding. The place, the positioning of the mentors are very important. I'm working throughout years with a group of, let's say, 30 different mentors, scriptwriters, producers, sales agents, representative of international festivals or international funds, that combine in a certain way, depending on the workshop, that trying to give the best of their skills, experience, and availabilities. That's one of the things that I really require to all of them, to be fully available for the participants. That means they have just to give up and just to skip their own business for a while, for a few days, to try to share. And believe me, they're the kind of that found very necessary to sometimes to leave their stuff a bit aside and get back to the core and the roots of what they are doing. What's a project from the very beginning, the essence of what we are talking about, which is very important. So it's most of the time a very great group and round of collaborators that are used to work together, that know one another quite well. So yeah, very important to set a group and a good atmosphere, good harmony. Adjusting work schedules to professional needs. True that each Produire Sud workshop, even though here my presentation focus on the Produire Sud workshop we have in Nantes, all of the other workshops we have all around the world are discussed with participants and are kind of different. We can say same but different, like same in a sense of this ethos, the kind of things that I won't compromise at all, but there's also a kind of difference regarding the contents, the number of days, the number of mentors, so to adjust all the contents of the workshop to what the regional or the region or the very producers and directors need in terms of skills. Do we insist on sales, or is it enough developed or known? Do we need, depending on the region of the world, insist on the script writing or on the co-production deals, etc.? That's something very important. Getting to the contents. So format of each workshop. So as I said, there's different formats as there are different workshops along the year, 7 of them. So as I said, a few projects, we pick 4 to 7 projects around the table. That means 8 to maximum 14 film projects and people, around the table, which is still like a human group. So to be able to know everyone. 4 to 7 work days. In Nantes, it's closer to 7 work days, and 6 to 12 international mentors. The whole format is an articulation between collective sessions all together, one-to-one meeting, as I say, where each of the team can meet 1 or 2 hours long with different mentors to have feedback. And there's also directors and producers talk with different groups. So to be able to discuss the kind of stuff that they are sharing their experience depending on the possibility in their country or in their region, and the way they are dealing with some difficulties, issues, or facilities. What each team is offered through each week is to get through the notions, actually from the very development stage of the film till the, I would say, the international film premiere in the most prestigious festival as possible. Co-production markets, international funds, contracts, distribution sales. There's a 1.5 pitch training. We're talking about strategies, development, our case studies. We talk about post-production chain. So it's a general approach from all this chain, which can be, of course, like more precise, but the idea is to give a whole picture of what each team have to think of before diving deeper in the co-production field. Sometimes some of the film that we select, even though we from the very selection thought that there's a great potential for co-production, some of the producers, some of the selected team could think that, okay, for that project, a co-production scheme will be a bit too much difficult. So maybe we can think to co-produce for the next project, and this one can be easily made because we have most materials, equipment, people in hands quite fast. So it's afterwards a question of decision, of course, and negotiation. The gain for each of them: personalized feedbacks already mentioned, new professional contacts starting from all the mentors, but it's also like a huge other round of people from different work tools, that acquisition of work tools that I'm providing each year. So it's a series of documents to help each team to gain time, to save time, to go straight to the point. And the most important of them maybe could be what I call our Bible. It's a 100 pages document summing up all the international funds, workshops, residencies in the world. So as a Brazilian, you just have to check where Brazilian or Brazil is eligible, and then you can go straight to what you need and what you can be offered in terms of production possibilities. And the strategy, meaning that at the end of the week, most of the team can have a quite precise idea of what could be the next development, or what could be the next step for them for that very project, to project themselves in the future. And of course, again, it's not mentioned here, but it's true that it's a great connection with the workshop, with the festival in Nantes, with myself in terms of follow-up. I'm used to have some alumni of Produire Sud getting back to me, asking for any kind of reading proof, or asking me to put them in touch with any technicians, any other international platforms, or any advice, so that they know afterwards that they have a connection, at least in Europe or in France. Just a very short focus on mentors to say how much, of course, important they are. Without them, there couldn't be something like made. So they are producers, distributors, script consultant, as I said, post-production manager, lawyer as well, to get to know with the copyrights and everything, how it works, like from one country to another. And if you want to confront from your place to the European way of considering contracts, of course, it's important to be able to know at least. And international filmmakers and producers as well, during case studies and everything. Just to last before Daniela and Rafaela can tell about their experience. Two things. This, just to picture what Produire Sud is at the moment. So the colored name is the living workshop we have at the moment. Main one is Nantes, in the frame of the Festival des Trois Continents, late November each year. And all the other ones are like annual as well workshop working with either international festivals or institutions. India, Taiwan, Thailand, Israel, South Africa, and Morocco. As you can see, we don't have any more living partnership at the moment in South Africa and in South America, Latin America, and it's been years that I haven't organized such workshop there. The very last was here, like in Caracas, for an ending workshop. It was in 2013. Produire was used to collaborate with Brazil. There have been, I think, 3 different workshops, one with the municipalities of Recife, Salvador do Bahia, and last one, Belo Horizonte. So this is something that we'd like to change or to adjust, or I don't know how to say, but yeah, maybe something could be made out of this new meeting and partnership with Josephine and the team of Projeto Paradiso.
And it's a great time to say hello to Mathieu Thibaudot, who has joined us from the French consulate, and who will be a key partner if this is ever to happen. Hello, Mathieu.
Whoa, I didn't expect that.
Wonderful, yeah.
I was quietly listening to you, and I wasn't expecting that. Hi, everybody. I'm really glad. I was counting the number of people attending this session, and I'm really glad because it's about 30 people attending this session. I'm really glad there's this appeal for this co-production laboratory. Today, when I talked to Guillaume a few weeks ago, he told me, yeah, we received some Brazilian projects, but the presence of Brazilian projects in the co-production lab is not enough. We need to fix that. We need to provide, I don't know, we need to create an action, a specific action, maybe to raise the awareness of this co-production lab. And maybe it's a fantasy for the moment at this point, but to reconnect with this lab session in Brazil in the next years. I hope months, but maybe years. Nobody can imagine what will happen in the next months, to be honest, nor in Nantes in France, in the west of France, nor in Brazil. So we'll see, but the first step, which is very important, to gather some more Brazilian candidates for this lab. Why this lab is so important? This lab is, I don't know how to say that in English, but in Brazilian, in Portuguese, it will be the antecâmara de Cannes, do Festival de Cannes. É uma antecâmara de vários festivais grandes. This laboratory is really relevant and important for a lot of prestigious cinema festival around the world. So you will, of course, you should interest you to this laboratory concretely, because it will give you some visibility, really important for the next step of your project. So of course I encourage you, encarecidamente, to candidate.
Thank you. Obrigada, Mathieu, pela sua participação, assim, pouco no improviso e
Totally.
Just like two last minutes to introduce like what we can call very usual shared mission requirements, so they won't have any surprise for most of you that's already familiar with submitted films or film projects to international platforms. The main, of course, you will have afterwards to check also and read all our regulations, but the most important one is, of course, that your project has to be submitted by a team producer director. That's what makes your submission eligible. for the reason I've described just earlier. The rest is something very basic, just for you to know that I know that for the workshop in Nantes, we receive dozens and dozens of submissions, and more and more, I would say the committee is very eager to look at previous works of the director, just to check the visual ID we can have from his or her skills compared to what we can read about the project in the dossier. So that's really something. Other than that, I think it's very usual way of how to expertise or elaborate an opinion on each either artistic approach of the film, of course, and its potential for a co-production with another country. There's just one last thing I wanted to show you is here a few films that from Brazil, of course, that have been passed through Produire since 2000. You probably know some of them. I don't know all of them, but yeah, just an idea of the kind of familiar, well-known or less independent, I would say, films that we have the chance to help to release.
This is a great selection.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Guillaume. Obrigada, Guillaume. It's very useful. I'm sure we might get some questions, but I will hand it over to Daniela and Rafaela before we go to the question session, because they might answer some of them. Então, Daniela e Rafaela podem nos contar, vocês tiveram a sorte, o privilégio, o talento de ser selecionada para essa última edição. Podem nos contar tudo aí.
Oi, pessoal, bom dia.
Oi, pessoal. E aí,
Poxa, foi muito legal participar do Produire. Eu sim, queria há muitos anos participar, porque a Cristiane Oliveira, que é uma amiga minha, né, que teve um dos filmes participantes em 2010, né, com a Letéia, como produtora, ela falava muito como era uma grande experiência, falava, né, da minha vontade, né, de seguir como produtora, e ela falava como esse workshop era bom para a produção, como foi super importante para a Letéia, então eu sempre estava com ele na cabeça. Então, quando eu e a Rafaela começamos a trabalhar a estratégia de laboratório de desenvolvimento, eu ficava produir, inclusive tendo entrado em contato com o Guillaume para conversar sobre o Produire, entender mais, que ele foi super aberto, sempre muito gentil. Então, foi uma alegria muito grande ter participado. Vou dar uma introduçãozinha para a Rafa também.
Legal, obrigada, Dani. Bom, primeiro, queria agradecer o Paradiso, né, por convidar a gente para poder compartilhar aqui essa experiência. Obrigada, Guillaume, pela oportunidade também da gente ser selecionada nesse laboratório que foi tão desejado, né, pela gente. Eu acho que para contar um pouquinho dessa nossa trajetória no laboratório, eu queria, enfim, falar que a gente chegou a esse contato com o Guillaume por conta de um curta-metragem que eu e a Daniela que a gente fez juntos, e encontrar essa oportunidade de desenvolver o primeiro, né, essa primeira ideia de coprodução no Produire foi muito interessante para a gente, justamente por isso, porque a gente só tinha a experiência do curta, a gente não tem ainda experiência de coprodução, mas o Produire é um laboratório que deu muitas ferramentas, contatos muito interessantes para a gente poder desenvolver, né? Desenvolver essa primeira coprodução. E, enfim, são raros os laboratórios, enfim, que tem nesse perfil, né? E eu acho que é uma coisa a se valorizar, assim, quem busca essa primeira experiência de coprodução ou quem está agora fazendo essa passagem, né, do curta para o longa. E uma coisa muito interessante também, enfim, que a gente estava buscando um laboratório que desse para a gente essa abertura nesse mercado internacional, que desse essas ferramentas, e também um laboratório na França, porque, enfim, eu acho que é algo que a gente ainda acessa muito pouco, né? São esses fundos regionais, né, da França. Então, a gente, por passar por Biarritz e depois ter esse contato com o Guillaume, a gente começou a desvendar um pouco isso, né? Então, ali a gente conseguiu, a gente recente tinha conseguido uma empresa coprodutora francesa, enfim, então isso foi muito importante para a gente poder entender quais são essas fortalezas do nosso projeto, assim, né? Quais são essas potências para o mercado internacional, assim. E fora que, enfim, é um laboratório super prestigioso, então o próprio selo do Produire ali já dá esse acesso, né? Acho que além das ferramentas, o próprio selo ali de ter passado por esse laboratório já dá essas ferramentas, né? A gente estava... É importante... Desculpa, né, só... assim, completando isso, acho que é importante falar que a gente tentou 2 vezes. A primeira vez a gente não entrou, mas foi a primeira vez que a gente sentou para escrever um projeto para laboratório. Então, essa foi uma etapa muito importante, porque 1 ano depois a gente conseguiu, enfim...
Amadureceu, trabalhou
amadurecer,
mais.
né? Amadurecer esse projeto que a gente tinha enviado 1 ano antes. Nossa primeira tentativa, a gente só tinha o argumento. Na segunda vez, a gente já tinha o roteiro, então eu fiz o caminho contrário, né? De fazer esse argumento que espelhasse o que a gente já tinha e conseguir mandar um material que, enfim, que a gente viu que estava muito mais forte e a gente conseguiu entrar, né?
Eu queria falar porque uma coisa que para mim foi um grande diferencial de ter trabalhado do Produire e que eu achei muito, muito importante para a gente no projeto é porque ele tem uma proposta de ser um olhar sobre todo o processo. Então, a gente tem consultorias desde o roteiro e também até a pós-produção. E também a gente conversa com sales, então a gente conversa desde ali do personagem, da estrutura do roteiro, até as entregas que são esperadas para um sales. Então, eu acho que isso dá uma visão, assim, geral, que muitas vezes a gente perde no processo, que é muito importante para a gente conduzir, né, um longa. Então, a gente teve conversa com finalização de som, com finalização de imagem, com sales, com distribuidor, com produtor, e muito focado em pensando nesse conteúdo para o mercado internacional. Então, achei isso foi muito, muito importante. E, além disso, depois do workshop, é disponibilizado material para a gente, com minutas de contrato, com a expectativa das entregas dos sales, com detalhes técnicos numa precisão assim que eu não vi em nenhum outro lugar. Então, assim, ficou ali guardada uma pastinha assim que eu tenho certeza que eu vou recorrer a ela assim muitas e muitas vezes, como eu já tenho recorrido desde então. Então, assim, eu acho que isso é um grande diferencial, porque dá assim uma visão geral de todo o processo. E como para o produtor, eu acho que para o produtor é essencial, né, conseguir ter nessa visão geral do processo. Então, para mim foi muito valioso isso. E esse formato de menos projetos também foi muito importante, porque a gente conseguiu ter realmente trocas de um projeto para outro, né? Na nossa edição foram 6 ao total, e eram cada um de um lugar muito diferente. Então, as estratégias, os roteiros são muito diferentes. Então, foi muito rico. A gente teve participantes da Tailândia, Azerbaijão, da África do Sul, Zimbábue. Então, foi assim, muito, muito rica a troca.
E eu acho que o Produire é um laboratório muito feliz nesse equilíbrio assim, dessas sessões coletivas e as sessões individuais, né? Então, assim, como a Dani falou, a gente passou por todas essas etapas, né? Acho que foram duas consultorias de roteiro, 2 consultorias de produção, 2 consultorias de sales, mais os cases que foram de coprodutores franceses, né? Falando sobre a experiência. E é muito interessante isso de serem menos projetos, né? Porque isso exige também que haja uma disposição muito grande de quem está participando, né? Um fôlego muito grande, porque o quanto que você participa ali e contribui no projeto dos seus colegas, enfim, vai alterar também completamente a experiência que eles vão ter do laboratório, né? Então, isso é muito importante também, ponderar isso, assim, né? Que nessa semana de laboratório, uma semana muito, muito intensa, assim, é impressionante como em uma semana a gente consegue, né, andar tanto assim com o projeto, pensar tanto, e é um laboratório que se preocupa muito também nessa relação produtor, diretor, né? Então, assim, faz a gente ter algumas sessões de terapia, né? Então, é muito, muito, muito interessante, assim. E eu queria pontuar também, eu acho que uma coisa, além disso que a Dani falou, da pós-produção, que eu acho que é super interessante, né? Esse incentivo a você pensar na pós-produção nesse momento de desenvolvimento, que é algo que também a gente não tinha visto em outras propostas de laboratório, né? E pensar também nisso, né? De tipo, será que uma coprodução, né, internacional é para você mesmo, né? Porque geralmente esses fundos têm, enfim, você tem que usar no lugar, né? Então, fez muito a gente pensar nisso, né? Será que o nosso filme, enfim, a gente consegue a grana de captação no Brasil e a gente tem que fazer a pós-produção toda fora, enfim, como é esse workflow, enfim, o quanto que a gente tem que estar preparado em questão de orçamento mesmo, em questão desse relacionamento que a gente vai criar com esse coprodutor para poder fazer isso, né, numa primeira experiência. Enfim, logo antes do laboratório, eles também passam um questionário, que eu acho que isso é um ponto também, é um detalhe muito pequeno, mas muito importante do laboratório, que justamente faz você colocar no papel quais são aqueles questionamentos que você tem sobre o projeto que você está trabalhando, né? Então, quais são as dúvidas, em qual estágio você está, qual a sua relação, se você já passou por algum tipo de consultoria antes, o que você quer trabalhar, justamente para fazer você pensar e levar para essas reuniões, né? Enfim, as demandas que você tem e a gente trabalhar em cima do que é necessário para cada um dos projetos, né? Enfim, acho que
Legal.
isso é uma coisa muito interessante.
Está já começando a chegar perguntas, então acho que foi muito bom o depoimento de vocês e foi muito concreto. Guillaume, they just said really terrible things, as you have understood, I'm sure. Questions are popping in, and I think one of them is because of what you just said, Rafaela, that you submitted your project twice. And Mônica Frota quer saber se você considera que o feedback da primeira aplicação te ajudou para que a segunda fosse bem sucedida. It's about the feedback that you gave when they first applied, Guillaume. Did it help them make a better application on the second time around?
I don't remember if I properly send you a personal feedback at that time. Unfortunately, despite what I was talking about, like trying to make a very personalized and specific connection with each of the participants. Regarding applicants, it's a bit different because we receive like a set dozen, but I would rather say hundreds. So given all those kind of feedbacks is mostly impossible. But of course, we met before with Daniela and Rafaela. It was in Durban, South Africa. So it was not, their application in the middle of nowhere. We knew each other already. So it was a bit different, of course. But given all those feedbacks, it's very, very difficult. So no, not much.
Mm-hmm. And is there any restrictions to who can participate? Somebody is asking about age limit, and somebody is asking if the director or the producer should already have an experience, or should they also, is the project supposed to have some money already financed?
Yes, all those questions. Okay, so those are mostly specified within our regulations, but of course I can elaborate a bit more on that. There's no age limit in a sense of it really depend on experience of the producer regarding international co-production tries. So once again, Produire au Sud is producing south in a way. So that means, even though it's I talked about the artistic approach of the film, but it's still true to say that the committee is really focused on the producer's profile. Depending that, if producers have enough experience regarding production and mostly international co-production, that means that they don't really need us. You know, we're really like useful for not specifically emerging producers, depending on where you already produce nationally or in your region. But from the moment you already experience in international co-production, for us, that just means that you have your marks, you have your networks of international people. So that means you can do whatever you want for your next venture, international venture. So we are really trying to give a push or be help for next step from the moment you're not established internationally. So doesn't have to do with age, but mostly with your experience. Regarding the budget rate, of course, the same. If we can notice that we have most like half of the budget, we all know that regarding the difficult times to produce a film nowadays, half of a budget can mean that the filmmaking is possible. So in this case, we're not useful anymore, of course. So up to 1/3 of the project, the budget in place is okay. That means that you have already make your first round of fundraising regionally or nationally, and you miss the international step or connection to finalize the whole of your budget. So in this case, of course, up to 1/3, 30% of the budget is reasonable. I would say it's not like something like if you see 32, you know, you're not eligible anymore. It's just something that we can feel. And once again, depending on the motivation, producer's note and director's intent also are very important. The way you articulate your own motivation and skills and your projection, you know, in this international scale is also very important for us to see exactly how you could what you can expect from Produire Sud. I can be useful for you.
And first movies, I mean, can it be a first movie? Do they have to have some experience as directors?
Almost same, of course. Like once again, the selection is mostly based on the producer's profile. So he can have produced many national films, TV programs, or anything. From the moment it's not like an international co-production, for us it doesn't really count as a first or second feature. And on the director's side, of course, if the director, he or she, is enough established, that means that her or his name would be enough to raise money. So up to, I would say, second or third feature, depending on the career those 2 or 3 films had previously. If they had like just like a national release, maybe it's good after a second or third feature film to still be helped to reach international festivals. What happened most of the time, especially since a few years, is of course the fact that producers can make a bit of money out of their sales to VOD or Netflix kind of VOD platforms or anything. From that, I would say, career or film status, this is not what we call an international career or run of international festival. We are talking about films in theaters. We are talking about, even though we all know it's more and more difficult, it's more and more difficult to find one's way and to get our films bought by international distributor or national distributor, but still, this is the kind of film that we are targeting, the kind of films internationally co-produced that can reach theaters and festivals.
Right. I'll suggest that the next question is asked live. So anybody who wants to take the mic and ask a question, please feel free. Podem fazer a pergunta ao vivo. Se você quiser falar em português, a gente faz a tradução, não se preocupe. O Caetano quer falar. Vai, Caetano.
Eu queria perguntar se projetos de primeiro filme de uma diretora que tem um produtor que já tem alguma experiência, mas é uma situação nova. Na verdade, ela vai fazer o primeiro filme é uma longa-metragem. A experiência dela anterior são com trabalhos de produção para TV. Queria saber se é um filme que pode... E no caso, já captou mais de um terço, mas, na verdade, precisando uma readequação, principalmente, e tem uma participação já de coprodutor internacional, mas é uma conversa que ainda está se estabelecendo. Que é um primeiro trabalho de coprodução internacional, no meu caso como produtor, mas é uma conversa que ela é distante ainda. Ela é uma conversa, para nós, ainda é uma conversa que ela vai se consolidando na medida que o desenvolvimento do filme vai caminhando. O filme já captou um pouco mais do que um terço, mas precisa de um redimensionamento, porque isso foi um valor que já está desatualizado. Eu queria saber se é o caso, se é um filme que pode aplicar.
Okay, so it's a very specific question. In this case, the director is a woman, and she has had experience in TV before, and also in producing, but in directing for TV, but it's her first feature for cinema. And the producer has some experience already, but it's his first co-production. He already has he's in negotiation with the co-producer. It's not settled yet, so it's ongoing, and he has a little bit more than 30%, but he has to re-budget the film because the budget is old. So it's kind of in the limit of what you were saying. Should he still apply?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's do it. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank
Great
you,
answer. Lorena has a question. Lorena, you don't want to ask your question live? Where's Lorena? I can't see her. Lorena.
I'm here.
Go ahead.
So, well, I've written down, but I can ask. Good morning, everybody. I would like to know, we're thinking about applying with Kel. She's also here, and she's a young director. She's a writer, and she has a few films before, short films. I'm an experienced producer, but I would like to apply with my own company, which is pretty new. So I'm asking if I should look for a co-producer, Brazilian one, more experienced, or if my backgrounds and the films I made in other companies will be enough.
Yeah, I mean, of course, we are working with people, so your background will be more important than your company CV. Are you experienced in international co-production as well?
Well, a little one, but yeah.
So a little can be, we have to see it on the paper, but I mean, if you have a very specific thing as a producer that you'd like to seek for, or if you want to, and we all know that depending on, once again, the country you're from and etc., the question of reaching some different skills, information, it can be very, very different. So we all know, and the Commission is very used to that also, to read through the lines, I would say. An application from Rwanda, from Brazil, from Argentina, from Philippines won't really mean the same thing regarding where it's sent from, you know? So, I mean, of course, if you have something, you think you have still something to deal or to learn with it, it's also a way to, you know, to think of it, you have still thing to learn out of this kind of incubating training program. Of course, do it.
Okay, right. Thanks.
Anna has a question. Anna Dandara.
Hi there. You hear me?
Hello. Yeah.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. My question is, what would you advise for a filmmaker who still doesn't have a producer attachment? I have seen Produire shoot many times before, and this how can I say, it's a character stretch of my trajectory. I do it all. And I had found some producers, but nothing really sticks. So, what would you advise for a person like me who cannot have a steady marriage with a producer, and still needs to develop, because I still don't have my first feature. I've been directing for 20 years, and I'm in my second attempt to finish creative documentary. And I would like to learn from you, what would you say? So other than reincarnation, what would you advise?
Tricky question, of course. I was hoping like nobody could asking, because of course I don't have any questions, answer, sorry, for that question, or they can have as many answers as people in this room. The question for a filmmaker, how to meet like with a producer, and not only with a producer, but the right producer, the one that you really want to work with, the one that you want, as we spoke during the workshop with Daniela and Rafaela, that the one that you accept to get married with, at least for a while, at least until the end of that production, is something very difficult. It's a personal path. It's so you have to knock at producer's door. You have to go to international places, international festivals, international platforms, markets, and everything, where all those kind of weird animals like called producers can, like surround like here, and are also the same as you, like also look for good projects and good for interesting filmmakers. That's also vice versa. It's not only directors who are looking for producers, that's also happen the reverse. So coming back to Produire, true that you can't apply as a single director, and you can't apply as a director producer of your own film. So that means that before submitting your project, you have to find someone at least who can, I'm also used to, to answer in a tricky way, even if these people is not like the right producer, but you can feel that it's enough attached to know enough about your project, so to be able to confront like this kind of framework for one full week. Maybe you can tempt, your chance. I introduce these people as the producer of the film, but to validate in a way, your project as a submission. But other than that, this kind of very objective criteria is the kind of criteria that make immediately your project rejected, because we have so much application that unfortunately we have to, go that way. So no answer, sorry to be, I'm armless.
We have a question from Alexei. Alexei is a great screenwriter and a mentor of our incubadora, so I just wanted to send a little special beijo.
Oh, hi, Josephine, special bisou. Guillaume, amazing to be here with you, listen to you. So my question is very simple, actually, is regarding the financing, because we have two projects in mind. We think they both are applicable. So as I listen to you right now. So, but one of them won a prize, development prize last year here. So we are still writing the script, developing the script. And the other one has absolutely no money, but we're still developing it. So we have all the conditions to apply, I guess. But this is the question, because the 30% is the maximum limit, right? But is there a minimum limit?
Zero. From zero. You can apply with zero. I mean, but it's not zero since you have a good project and you're like two partners, you know, and it's actually happened most of the time. Zero is, you know, it's not that common to have even development fund, just because in most of the country, I would say 85–90% of the country have the chance to collaborate with or to meet people from don't have the least public funds or don't have the least kind of, you know, funds. For development funds is something very rare, even more rare that the production funds. So yeah, of course you can, and sometimes grab a very small amount from, I don't know, an award, or you have gathered a few award fees from short film festivals. I don't know. That's some. So sometimes it's only $500, and that's okay. That's okay. So we can start from zero. There's no minimum.
Perfect. I'm happy just right now with your answer. Thank you.
Congratulations for this.
Good news. Yeah.
Anybody else? I can't see both screens, so you have to just grab the microphone because I might just not be looking at someone who's raising his or her hand. Luisa, no. Luisa says, just I mean, there is no question. Really? Nobody? A last question? It's always nice.
Maybe Daniela, I was thinking of maybe Daniela or Rafaela could give a few advice, or how you did just like submit your project and then something like that regarding the fact you got selected.
Great.
Vou falar em português, porque deu tilt na cabeça.
Yeah, of course, you can do it in Portuguese.
Eu acho que o conselho é enviar. Eu acho que o projeto vai ter oportunidade de ser escolhido se vocês enviarem. Você tem várias questões. Eu acho que se procurarem o time aí, que é uma equipe maravilhosa que trabalha no Produire, o Lucas, a Chloe, o Guillaume, são pessoas que sempre tiveram receptivas, abertas a nos escutar. Então acho que é mandar a pergunta, tem lá o e-mail, se ficar uma dúvida muito específica, mas não deixar de enviar, porque eu não tenho um coprodutor, eu não levantei nada de recurso. Às vezes a gente acaba não enviando por achar que tem muitos, né, não está ali, né, não está apto à aplicação. Eu acho que tem que enviar. E eu acho que é investir em texto, né, investir numa boa carta de motivação do diretor, do produtor, conversar sobre essas cartas. O argumento é muito importante, mas esses documentos é que mostram ali a relação e as possibilidades de trabalho dentro do workshop. Então, acho que essas seriam as minhas dicas.
Acho que reitero o que a Dani disse. Assim, acho que é muito importante investir nesses documentos além do argumento, né? Uma boa carta de motivação, sabe? Uma que converse, né? Uma carta de motivação que converse de diretor com a do produtor, que tenha a ver com o projeto, como a gente está pensando no mercado internacional também, algo que faça sentido, né? Para você, por que você busca uma coprodução. Acho que todos esses documentos têm que ser muito bem cuidados e muito bem feitos, que eu acho que isso é um ponto muito bem trabalhado dentro do laboratório, assim, né? Então, você escrever no momento que você tenha um pouco dessa visão global do projeto, que você consiga, enfim, defender no papel também a sua visão artística, as suas motivações. Isso é muito importante. Eu acho que tem também os documentos de produção também, né, que tem que enviar. Eu acho que a gente envia orçamento, né, plano de financiamento, tudo isso. E assim, é muito raro um laboratório que seja voltado a projetos nessa etapa, como o Guilherme falou, que tenha um total de 0 dinheiros investidos. Então, assim, não percam a oportunidade, assim. E visto mais uma vez também, né? Porque a gente viu que isso enfim, é um laboratório que permite também que você tente mais de uma vez, que isso também é raro. Tem muitos laboratórios que você pode enviar uma vez só. Então, eu acho que são vários pontos que contam a favor do Produire.
Muito bom. Guillaume was nice enough to send us the link again for the call for application. And remember, the deadline is July 23rd, so you have some time, but from what we've gathered here, you need to boost your application. And so it's good to have some time to do that because it's competitive. But I'm really, really looking forward to having candidates from Brazil selected this year, really, really hoping that this will happen. And I hope that this workshop has made it a little bit easier for Brazilians to know how to submit the best project that they can. And I want to thank everybody now. I think they were very thorough in their presentations. That's why we had so few questions. I think Guillaume has covered it all pretty much. So I just want to thank everybody that was here today with us. I want to thank especially Guillaume for taking the time to, to talk to a Brazilian audience. And I think it just means a lot that he would do that. I think it means that they're looking at Brazil as a serious contender here. And it's really important that we show up. I want to thank again Daniela and Rafaela also. It was great to hear about your experience. And if anybody needs or more info, we're always available. Paradiso at ior.org.br. You can write to us and you can find infos on the link that Guillaume sent us or on projetoparadiso.org.br. So thank you very much. Merci, Guillaume.
Merci. Obrigado.
Yeah, we'll be in touch. I hope you can, we'll have some good news that you can share with us when will the selection be made public?
By mid-September. Okay.
So mid-September.
And be prepared to have the full script and to answer the questionnaires. They demand time. So we need to be prepared to answer everything.
Good. All right. So I hope we're in touch again with people from Brazil in mid-September.
Can I say something just to, em português, maybe, just to, vou falar em português rapidinho, só para dizer que vocês podem entrar em contato com o Projeto Paradiso se precisarem de uma informação específica, um contato específico com profissionais franceses ou artistas franceses, aconteceu também, vocês podem entrar em contato comigo, como adido cultural, estou dizendo, no Consulado-Geral em São Paulo. Eu cuido realmente desse ramo audiovisual, de cinema, até de videogame. Então, se vocês tiverem realmente pedidos específicos, vocês podem entrar em contato comigo, tá? Sem problema. Faz parte do meu papel também de tentar ajudar e criar laços entre profissionais brasileiros e franceses, então fiquem à vontade.
Quer mandar seu e-mail aí no chat?
Eu vou mandar o e-mail aqui, vai ser mais simples.
Vocês estão perguntando, esse vídeo inteiro vai estar no site, no YouTube do canal do Projeto Paradiso, que se chama Canal Paradiso. Também podem acessar pelo site, projetoparadiso.org.br. E Guillaume, they're asking if you can make the PDF available together with the video. Would that be a possibility? Would you share it with the participants?
Of course. Yeah.
Okay, great. So we'll make the PDF available as well, and vocês podem acessar o vídeo e o PDF logo, só deem um tempo aí para a gente se organizar, no canal Paradiso, no site do Projeto Paradiso. Mas, e muito importante isso que o Mathieu falou, o Mathieu é um grande parceiro também do cinema brasileiro, então, muito bom ele estar aqui. Muito obrigada, Mathieu. Obrigada, Guillaume. Thank you, everybody. Merci, au revoir, obrigada, thank you. And hope to see all of you very soon. Bye-bye.
À bientôt.
À bientôt, merci encore.